So our topic for today is final accounts. So before we start with the final accounts, you need to tell me the process of accounting, the steps in the process of accounting. Who will tell me the steps properly? We have
Trading
certain
account.
steps in our process of accounting. I said steps in the process of
Oh, those.
accounting.
Okay.
So how are we starting the accounting process with? How do we start the accounting process?
Recording.
Yeah, recording. And what do we call recording as?
Journal.
Writing of journal entries. So the first step in our process of accounting is recording, wherein we write the journal entries. And the process of writing journal entries is called as?
Journalizing.
Journalizing, correct. The process of writing of journal entries is called as journalizing. Okay. And then what is the next step?
Classifying. Ledger account.
Classifying. We do the classifying through the ledger accounts. So the process of transferring the journal entries to the ledger accounts is called as? Again,
Ledger.
there's a name given to it. Yes, someone answered. I didn't hear it. The process of transferring the journal entries to the ledger accounts is called as? What happened? What do you call that process? Transferring of journal entries to the ledger accounts. We call it as ledger posting. Don't forget these words. The process of transferring journal to ledger is called as posting. Okay, so that is the second step. Then what is our third step in the process of accounting? After ledger
Summarizing. Ma'am.
summarizing. And how do we do the summarizing part?
Trial balance.
We do it through the trial balance. So all the ledger account balances are transferred to the trial balance. And then the third step of accounting is completed by preparing the trial balance. Now coming to the fourth step in the process of accounting, the step number 4 is from the trial balance, we prepare our final accounts. Now tell me, what is the major objective of any business? The major
Profit.
to earn profits. Okay. And what is the major objective or function of accounting? The major objective or function of
To
accounting.
balance the transactions.
To balance the transactions. Anything else? Why are we doing the accounting process? What is our major intention or objective behind it?
To know the financial position.
Correct. To know our profitability position and the financial position. So remember, see how these things are connected. The major objective of any business is to run profit, and the major objective of accounting is to know how much profit we are earning. Isn't it? So we follow certain steps in the process of accounting. Step number 1 is journalizing, writing the journal entries. Step number 2 is your ledger posting, where you transfer journal to the ledger. Step number 3 is your preparation of trial balance, wherein you transfer the ledger balances into the trial balance. And the step number 4 is preparation of final accounts. And these final accounts, this step is very, very important, because this step will show us the true picture of our accounts. So it will show us the profitability position of the business. That is, are we into profits or are we incurring losses in the business? It will also show us the financial position of the business. So where is the business standing on the given day? Does it have equal number of assets and liabilities? What is its position? So this is done by the step number 4, preparation of final accounts, which we are going to learn in this unit. And after the preparation of final accounts, we also have one more step in the accounting process. So what is the last step after preparation of final accounts?
Communicating.
Yes, it is the step of communication, wherein these final accounts are communicated to the people who are interested in decision making. So all those people who need these accounts for their decision making purpose, we communicate the information to them. So we follow this 5-step process of accounting. In this 5-step process, first 3 steps we have already done. We are perfect with writing of journal entries, ledger accounts, and preparation of trial balance. Now we will see From the trial balance, how do we prepare our final accounts? So can anyone tell me what are the major parts of the final accounts?
Trading account, PL
Trading
account,
profit.
and balance sheet.
Correct. So there are three major parts of the final accounts. We call it as trading account, the profit and loss account, and the balance sheet. So now let us see what all are we going to see in today's session. So our outcomes for today's session would be to understand what final accounts are, which we did just now, and then to look into detail each one, the trading account, the P&L account, and the balance sheet. So first, coming to the point of final accounts. The most important function of an accounting system is to provide information about the profitability of the business. So as I told you, the major objective of accounting process is to provide information about our profitability position. So where are we? Are we in profits or are we in losses? And this can be done only by the system of accounting. So final accounts will complete this process. At the end of the accounting year, the entity must be interested in knowing the results of the business. So we know the accounting period concept. According to the accounting period concept, at the end of the accounting year, we prepare the final accounts. So when the year ends, we will all be interested in knowing what have we done in the business throughout the year. Finally, has our business led us into profits or are we incurring losses? And the year followed can either be a calendar year or a financial year. At the end of the year, we are all interested in knowing the results of the business. To ascertain the outcome of the business, that is the income and the financial position, they prepare the financial statements at the end of the year. So to know what is our final income, what is our financial position, we prepare the financial statements at the end of the accounting year. The sole trader furnishes a trading account and a P&L account which depicts the results of the business transactions of the sole trader. So sole trader will prepare, here is taking the example of a sole trader. A sole trader is the one who is starting, owning, managing and controlling the business all by himself. So he will prepare his trading account, P&L account, which will show the result of the business transactions during the year. Similarly, he will also prepare a balance sheet which will show the financial position of his assets and liabilities. Right? So we all now know what is the meaning of final accounts. Final accounts are prepared so that they can reveal the profitability position as well as the financial position of any business. So what are the final accounts of a trading concern comprise of? As you know, there are three important things: the trading account, the profit and loss account, and the balance sheet. Most of the times we prepare the trading account and the P&L account at one go, that is in the same statement. So then our heading is trading and profit and loss account of so and so concern. So we start with the trading account and then we continue on the same page with the P&L account. Otherwise, you can also prepare it separately. You can prepare a trading account first and then the P&L account. And then at the end, we prepare the balance sheet. So if it is a trading concern, everyone knows the meaning of a trading concern, I guess. Trading concern is that concern which only deals in purchasing and selling of goods. So it is related to buying and selling of goods. So trading concerns will prepare these three accounts: trading account, P&L account, and the balance sheet. Now, if it is a manufacturing concern, so manufacturing concern is one which is also dealing in manufacturing the goods and then selling them. So if it's a manufacturing concern, then it will also prepare a manufacturing account in addition to these three parts. So then it will have a manufacturing account, a trading account, a P&L account, and then the balance sheet. So now what we need to do is we have to look at the pro formas of each one so that we understand the process of preparing them. We need to learn how to prepare a trading account, profit and loss account, and the balance sheet. So one by one, we will look into the pro formas of each one and understand how we need to prepare them. So we will start with the first. Okay, before we go to the trading account, this is a picture of your financial statements. So the final accounts, as we are calling it as final accounts, they are also called as financial statements. So you can see in the picture, the financial statements is divided into two parts, the income statement and the position statement. So income statement shows us our income or loss during the year. And the income statement is again divided into two parts, the trading account and the P&L account. The position statement is called as the balance sheet. So final accounts divided into two parts, income statement and position statement. Income statement again divided into two parts, the trading account and the P&L account. The position statement is divided only into one part, that is called as the balance sheet. And the trading account, the net result or the end result of a trading account is called as the gross profit or gross loss. The net result or the end result of a P&L account is called as the net profit or the net loss. So trading account will tell us about our gross profit or loss, and our P&L account will tell us about our net profit or net loss earned during the year. Coming to the balance sheet reveals the position of all our assets and liabilities on any particular date. Right? So our financial statements comprise of two major things, income statement and the position statement. Income statement again divided into trading and P&L. Trading shows the gross profit or loss. P&L will show the net profit or loss. And the position statement is called as the balance sheet, which will show the position of our assets and liabilities. And from all these three, please remember, trading and P&L, we call them as accounts. They are ledger accounts. Trading account, P&L account. So they are accounts. Whereas balance sheet is not an account, it is a statement. Please remember, you will never call it as balance sheet account. Balance sheet is not an account, it is only a statement. Right? So now we will look into each one in detail. So first coming to the trading account. So trading account is an account which is prepared by a merchandising concern which purchases the goods and sells the same during a particular period. So this is a concern, as I told you, which is dealing only with buying and selling of goods during a particular period. And the main purpose of preparing a trading account is to find out the gross profit or the gross loss, which is an important indicator of the business efficiency. So as told, this is an account. It is an account and it is a nominal account. So we know the rule of a nominal account. So what is the rule of a nominal account? Tell me the rule of a nominal account.
Debit all expenses, credit all incomes.
Debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. So we follow the same rule for our trading account. All our expenses will be debited and all the incomes will be credited. And the net result or the balance between the expenses and incomes will be called either as a gross profit or a gross loss. And this profit or loss is the important indicator for our business efficiency. So now let us look into certain items which are important in the trading account. Right? So we will see into the important items of trading account. See, there are only 4 major items in the trading account. One is stock, the other one is purchases, the next one is direct expenses, and the last one is sales. So we will see each item in detail. Now stock, what do you mean by stock? Stock means all the goods which are lying unsold on a particular date at our premises. So all the goods which are unsold at our concern or at our premises. So the goods which are left unsold, which are left over, those are called as stock. Now this stock is of 2 types. We have an opening stock, we have a closing stock. So we need to know what each one means. Opening stock, closing stock. So for example, if we are in the current year, which is 2021, right? 2021 is our current year. So opening stock of current year is the closing stock of 2020. That means It is the closing stock which was lying unsold at the end of 2020. So previous year, whatever was the stock which was lying unsold, which you call it as closing stock, is called as the opening stock of the current year. Am I clear? Opening stock of current year implies the closing stock of the previous year. Now, what is closing stock? Closing stock of current year is all the amount of goods which are lying unsold at the end of the current year. So when the year is ending on 31st December, when we are closing our books of accounts, on that day, whatever is the amount of stock lying at our business which has not been sold, all that stock is called as the closing stock. So what we need to remember and understand here is stock is divided into two parts, opening stock and the closing stock. So opening stock is the one which was last year's or the previous year's closing stock, which we have brought forward to the current year. So whatever was left over last year, when we close the books of accounts, the stock was left over. The same stock, we bring it forward to the current year as opening stock. And whatever stock is left unsold at the end of the current year, we call it as closing stock. Now coming to a trading account, opening stock is always taken on the debit side of the trading account and closing stock is always shown on the credit side of the trading account. So you have to remember that part. Opening stock to be taken on the debit side, whereas closing stock to be taken on the credit side. Am I clear with the stock part? Anyone has a doubt in the stock? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, in the sense you are telling you have a doubt, so you need to express what the doubt is.
I said, ma'am, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay, fine. So we'll move ahead to the next item in the trading account, that is purchases. So when I say purchases, what do you understand from the word purchases? What does purchases mean?
Purchases of goods.
Yes, always remember that point. Purchases means purchase of goods only. It does not include the purchase of assets. Remember, purchase of assets is not called as purchases. Purchases implies the purchase of goods which have been brought for resale in the business. So purchases refer to those goods which have been bought for resale. And when I say purchases, it includes both the cash purchases and the credit purchases. And purchases is also an expense. So purchases also will be debited to the trading account. So remember, our opening stock is debited. The next item to be debited is the purchases because it's an expenditure. Now, when we come to purchases, what you need to do? First thing is you will take all the purchases, whether it is cash purchases, whether it is credit purchases. So you will add both of them, cash as well as credit purchases. And from the purchases, you will deduct certain items. Now, what are those items to be deducted? First thing is you will deduct your value of purchase returns. So all the goods which you have returned because they were defective pieces. So that purchase returns will be deducted from purchases. Similarly, if there are goods withdrawn by the proprietor for his personal use, such goods you will deduct from purchases. Remember, I'm saying only goods withdrawn for personal use. I'm not saying cash. If goods are withdrawn for personal use, then you will deduct such goods from purchases. If goods have been withdrawn to be distributed as free samples, then you will deduct such goods from purchases. If goods have been withdrawn to be given as charity, then you will deduct such goods from purchases. Right? So purchases concept is clear. Purchases will be shown on the debit side of trading account. You will take all cash and credit purchases. You will deduct purchase returns. You will deduct any goods withdrawn, whether it is for personal use, whether it is for charity, whether it is for free samples. All such goods which have been withdrawn will be deducted from purchases and the final amount will be shown in the outer amount column. So remember, when we are doing the trading account, we will always take two amount columns. The inner amount column is for all your calculations or adjustments, and the outer amount column is for your final amounts. Right? So we have understood two items perfectly. Stock, we have two things, opening and closing. Opening on the debit side, closing on the credit side. Purchases is an expenditure, so all purchases will come on the debit side. Now we'll first go to sales, then we'll go to expenses. So sales is exactly opposite to purchases. Sales again means the sale of goods only. It doesn't mean the sale of assets. So we do not call sale of assets as sales. Remember that. So sales means all those goods which are to be sold. And again, sales is an income, right? It's a revenue or an income for the concern. So sales will always be shown on the credit side of the trading account. And from the value of sales, you will always deduct the value of sales returns. That means all those returns we have got back from the customers. That amount should be deducted from your value of sales. And again, in sales also, you will include both the cash sales as well as the credit sales. Right? So how many items did we see in the trading account till now?
4.
4 items. Opening stock and purchases to be debited. Closing stock and sales to be credited. Remember, trading account follows the same rule. It's a nominal account. All expenses debited, all incomes credited. So opening stock and purchases are debited. Sales and closing stock are credited. Now we are left over with the last final item of trading account, which is called as direct expenses. Now there's a difference between direct and indirect expenses. All direct expenses are taken in the trading account, and all indirect expenses are taken to the P&L account, which is called as the profit and loss account. So what are direct expenses? Direct expenses are those expenses which are directly attributable to the purchase of goods or to bring the goods in saleable condition. That means all those expenses which we are incurring to bring the goods to our godown, to bring the raw materials to our godown, or to make the goods into saleable condition. In short, all those expenses which are related to our factory premises, where the raw material is brought, it is converted into finished goods, where transportation is incurred to bring the raw materials to our godown, where goods are brought to our godown. So all those expenses which are related to bringing the goods or which are related to the purchase of goods and which are related to bring the goods into saleable condition, such expenses are called as direct expenses. So any idea where will we take the direct expenses, debit or credit of trading account? Tell me, where do we take the expenses? Should we take it on the debit side or the credit side?
Debit.
We will take it on the debit side because they are all expenses. So all direct expenses will be debited to the trading account. That's it. So if you know these 5 items, your trading account is clear. You will not have any other item in the trading account. You will have only these 5 items in your trading account. So debit side, you will have your opening stock, purchases, and all direct expenses. Credit side, you will have your closing stock and your sales. That's it. Your trading account is done. Now we will just look into examples of our direct expenses. So what all are our direct expenses? So what did I tell you? All the expenses which are related to bringing the goods to our godown, or all those expenses which are related to our factory premises, or which are related to making the goods into saleable condition, all such expenses are called direct expenses. And if you see on the screen, all these are the examples of direct expenses. So can anyone tell me what do you mean by carriage inwards? What is carriage inwards? We have done this already. What do you mean by carriage inwards?
Ma'am, money coming into the business.
No. You have totally changed the meaning.
Oh, sorry. Money going out of the business.
carriage inwards is the transportation incurred on bringing the raw materials into the business, or transportation incurred for purchasing the goods for the business. Always remember, carriage inwards is the transportation incurred on bringing the goods into the business. So now can you tell me what is carriage outwards? I told you carriage inwards. Now tell me what is carriage outwards. Carriage outwards is the transportation incurred on taking the finished goods out for sale, right? Or it is the transportation incurred on selling the goods. So your carriage inwards is always a direct expense, whereas your carriage outwards is an indirect expense. And carriage outwards will be taken in the P&L account, whereas carriage inwards will be taken in the trading account. So as I told you, all the expenses which are related to bringing the goods to your godown, or which are related to your factory premises, the expenses incurred in the factory to make the goods, all such expenses are called as direct expenses. See the next one, freight and insurance. Freight is again the transportation charges. Insurance is paid for acquiring goods or making them saleable. We pay the insurance charge, right? So all these are again direct expenses. Now next, coming to the wages part. So in case of wages, we have two important things. One is called as wages and the next one is called as salaries. So wages are paid to the laborers or the workers who work in the factory premises. Salaries are paid to the staff who work in the office or the admin area. So wages are all direct expenses which are debited to the trading account, whereas salaries are all indirect expenses which are debited to the P&L account. So am I clear with these? Carriage inwards, freight and insurance, wages. Similarly are these expenses, fuel, power and lighting. So you will incur some fuel charges, the power charges in your factory premises, the lighting charges. So all these expenses which are related to your manufacturing area or your factory premises, they are all direct expenses. Now, if he mentions that the lighting charges are for the office area or for the admin area, then you will take those lighting charges in P&L account. It becomes an indirect expense then. If the power and lighting are for your factory, then only you call it as direct expenditure. Next one is octroi. Octroi means it is something similar to your custom duties for import tax and export tax. But octroi is related to the goods when they are traveling within the municipality limits. So if goods are traveling abroad, out of the country, we have import and export duties, right? Similarly, octroi is charged, but when the goods are purchased within the municipality limits, then this octroi charges have to be paid. Again, this is also a direct expense, and it will be debited to the trading account. Similarly, at packing charges. Now, what do we mean by packing charges? See, sometimes there are some type of goods which have to be packed before they are sold. So they come with the packing. We cannot sell them without the packing. So for example, if you take some liquids, like if it is ink, you cannot sell ink without the bottle, right? Ink has to be stored in the bottle to be sold. With the container, I mean, it can be a bottle, it can be a box or whatever it is. So without the container, I cannot sell the ink. So such type of packing charges are incurred to bring that ink to saleable condition. All those things are also called as direct expenses. And the last item is the manufacturing expenses. So what are manufacturing expenses? All the expenses which are related to the manufacturing of goods, they are called as manufacturing expenses. So as I told you, in the factory premises, whether it is wages paid, factory lighting, power, insurance of factory, all the expenses related to factory are all called as manufacturing expenses, and all of them are debited to your trading account. Right? So we are done with the trading account now. So just remember, there are only 5 major points to the trading account. Opening stock, purchases, and all direct expenses on the debit side, sales, and the closing stock on the credit side. That's it. Nothing else will appear in your trading account. Only these 5 items will appear. Opening stock, purchases, and direct expenses on the debit side, your sales and closing stock on the credit side. But you need to remember, from the purchases, you need to deduct your returns and any other goods withdrawn. From the sales also, you need to deduct your returns. And expenses, you will take only the direct expenses into consideration. Right? So we will just look at the pro forma of a trading account. So this is just a rough pro format or a pro forma of how a trading account appears. So first important thing to remember here is the heading of a trading account. Here I have not given the name because this did not have a name. So whenever the name of the concern is given, you will also write the name. So the heading is always written as trading account of ABC for the year ended 31st March or for the year ended 31st December. Whenever your year is ending, you will write it as for the year ended. So remember these terms, for the year ended. Why are we writing for the year ended? Because this trading account is for the entire year, starting from January 1st to December 31st, or starting from April 1st to March 31st. At the end of the year, we are preparing this account. So we always write trading account of for the year ended, right? So debit side and credit side. Debit side, you have a particulars column and the amount column. Credit side, again, you will have the particulars column and the amount column. You will not have any date column in trading account, because in the heading itself, we are writing the date because we are preparing it on the last day of the year. So for every transaction, you need not write the date. So we will not have any date column. We will not have any JF column here. You will have only the particulars and the amount column. But you need to remember, for amount, we will take 2 columns. The inner amount column and the outer amount column. Our inner amount column is for all our adjustments and our calculation, and the outer amount column is for the final amounts. So if you look into the account, it starts with opening stock, purchases, less returns, and then all the direct expenses. Coming to the credit side, it starts with sales, less returns, and then the closing stock. So 5 items, trading account is done. Opening stock, purchases, expenses on debit, sales, closing stock on the credit. So what do we do after transferring the entries? We will have to balance the account. So all of us know the process of balancing the account, right? So same thing we will follow. We will balance the account. So debit side is expenses, credit side is incomes. So if our incomes or the credit side is more than the debit side, we call the difference as gross profit. And the gross profit will be shown on the debit side. If you remember, whichever side is less, you show the balance there. So if your incomes are more, you call it as gross profit. But if your expenses are more than the income, then you call it as gross loss, and it will be taken on the credit side. And this gross profit or gross loss is transferred to the P&L account on the opposite side. If you remember the ledger account, when you were writing the balances, once the balancing part is done, you will transfer the balance to the opposite side, right? Same thing you will do. Gross profit is written on the debit side in the trading account, so you will transfer it on the opposite side, that is the credit side, after the total. Gross loss is written on the credit side, so you will transfer it to the debit side after the total. And from the point where you have transferred the balances, from there your P&L account starts. So as I told you, trading and P&L are prepared in continuation to one another. So from the point where the balances are transferred, from there the P&L account starts. That means your P&L account always starts with gross profit or gross loss. Okay? So when you are doing the trading and P&L account in continuation with one another, your heading will be trading and profit and loss account of so and so for the year ended. Remember that. If you are doing it separately, you will end the trading account here. You will start the P&L with the gross profit on the other page, and you will put the heading as profit and loss account. Otherwise, you will keep continuing this account itself. So are we clear with the pro forma of trading account? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
How many items do we take? How many items are we taking in the trading account? Please remember only 5 items. Opening stock, purchases, expenses on the debit side, closing stock and sales on the credit side, and then balance the account and find out the gross profit or the gross loss. Right? So let us look into the same important points which we have discussed. It's just written in a gist. We'll just have a reading quickly. The opening inventory and purchases are written on the debit side. What do you mean by inventory? What is inventory? Inventory is nothing but stock, correct? So the opening stock and purchases are written on the debit side. Sales and closing stock are written on the credit side. If there are any direct expenses, then they should also be written on the debit side of the trading account. If the balance of, please listen to these sentences carefully. If balance of credit side is more, the difference is written on the debit side as gross profit. And this amount will also be carried forward to the P&L account on the credit side because we transfer the opposite side, right? In case of gross loss, that is when your debit side is more than the credit side, the amount will be written on the credit side of trading account as gross loss and it will be transferred to the opposite side, that is debit side of P&L account. So are we clear? We will balance the account. We will write the gross profit and gross loss and put the totals. And after the totals, we will carry forward the gross profit or the gross loss on the opposite side. And from the point where we are carrying forward, our P&L account will start. So are there any doubts in the trading account part? Are we all clear with it perfectly? Yes? Have you all understood the trading part properly?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Okay.